Hey YouTube, what's up? So recently I picked up this Leatherman Rebar and I thought maybe I'd just talk about it for a few minutes. This is not going to be about specs and everything. This multi-tool has been out for a while, so I'm not going to bore you with all that. I just wanted to take a few pictures and just share what I thought about it and go from there. I was trying to figure out which one to get next. Was it the Sidekick or the Wingman? But the more I looked into those two, they didn't seem to be that durable. I'm not saying they're not great for everyday carry, but people that have really been using them, putting them through their paces, have found that they pretty much fail over time, unlike other different models. So I was not very happy when I saw that. People that I trust that were telling me that it doesn't hold up very well. So I was like, not very durable. I'm going to try to look elsewhere. So the Super Tool 300 and also looking at the Surge, I love those two, but they're just too big and too heavy, man, for everyday carry. So I had to scratch them off the list. The next was the Leatherman Wave Plus. I put that back on the list, being that they have the new wire cutters that are replaceable. I was like, that's pretty cool, but it still has a bit of weight to it, a little heavier than I really prefer. And to be truthful, I don't really like where the tools are on the outside. And it actually makes the handles a little bit weaker. And I don't like that if any of the tools got loose, they could stick out and poke me in the leg or puncture my backpack if I had the tool in there. And even though it's very rare, you do hear some stories from time to time of multi-tools that have the tools on the outside in the closed position coming loose and opening up and either sticking someone or damaging gear. So I didn't want that. Of course, you can easily fix that problem by keeping the multi-tool in a sheath or just kind of keeping the pivot points, tight, just doing regular maintenance. But sometimes you let things go and things get loose and things happen. Now, this leads me to the Leatherman Rebar. I got mine on sale. I got mine close to $50, which is pretty good. They typically are going for about $60 right now on the average store. That's kind of like the average price is $60, but I got mine close to 50. And I think for that price, it's pretty fair. I think that just in my opinion, this is more of a $40 to $45 multi-tool, but I guess comparatively at the moment right now in the market, I can see why people are paying a little more than that, just because you have like the Leatherman Wave Plus that's at $100 now. And, you got a lot of multi-tools that are at the $100 or more mark. And so it makes something at $60 look a lot more inexpensive. And so relatively speaking, it's not a bad deal, but I just say that in the big picture view, I think that if they came down another $10 to $15, it would be the perfect price. And I think it would be the perfect value. But I think it's fair price right now, but it's not high value, in my opinion. But that's just where I stand at the moment. That could change down the road. The fit and finish on my particular rebar that I received was okay. There was a few machining marks still that left on the plier head. I wasn't really happy to see that, so I'd give it maybe a B+ overall fit and finish. The tools and the handle really stick bad. And this is a complaint a lot of people are talking about in the multi-tool forums and even online and different reviews on YouTube that, man, for example, the lanyard hole that you can retract into the handle, it sticks really, really tight up against the file. In fact, I had to pry that sucker off to take the pictures for this little video here. And so that's not cool. You would think that they could put some kind of material, just something in there to separate each of the tool implements, just enough so that they can kind of work more independently. So when you pull out one tool, you're not bringing out like 2 or 3 others. So that's been a problem, and I'm not sure why Leatherman doesn't address that. It wouldn't be that big of a deal just to create some kind of spacing device, like a spacer in between, just to create a deviation of that friction to kind of offset the friction so the tools don't stick together. So I would recommend that needs to be solved. But the tools all lock in the locking position just fine. There is a little bit of play with all the tools in the lock position, but it's not horrible. I feel pretty confident that it's okay, but I wouldn't mind if it was just a little bit tighter in terms of the lockup, but maybe I'm just being picky. My favorite two things about this multi-tool is that it has an awl and it has the replaceable wire cutters. That's pretty much the highlight of this tool. And also, that I like the robustness of the handles, and that is made possible because of the tools being on the inside of the handles in the closed position. And so I just want to say overall that I'm really happy that I got it. And if you can get it for around $50, it's not the worst deal out there. This is probably one of the best options for everyday carry. It's a few ounces lighter than the Wave Plus, and I think the Wave Plus for a lot of people is just a little too much, just a little too heavy and a little too thick. And so this is probably the largest that most people would go for everyday carry is the rebar. And I think it's doable. I think especially if you carry it in a belt sheath, it's probably going to be the best way to carry it, hands down. And so what do you think about this? Do you think this is probably one of the better everyday carry multi-tools out there? There's a lot of people that, are very brand myopic, so maybe this is not your brand. I will have to say that there's a lot of Leatherman tools that are very hit and miss, and for a long time, I have to just come clean and tell you that I kind of boycotted Leatherman just because their prices were just ridiculous, I thought, and they still are to some degree. I think some of their models are just way up there for no reason, and so they give me the sense that there's a little bit of a gouging going on. But maybe once again, maybe it's justified when you compare it against other models. So I think in the long run, you have to kind of see if the tool meets your needs. And that's a really hard thing sometimes when you're new to this. So you may actually have to buy one or two multi-tools just to get your hands wet, or hands dirty, I should say, and kind of know what you even really would use more than others. For some people, you would never even need something like this. You can go with a non-plier version, a non-wire cutter multi-tool, and just get a very simple Victorinox multi-tool. And they may only weigh just a few ounces, and they serve all your needs. And I will have to say that the majority of the time I carry those kind of multi-tools over something like the Rebar or a Wave, and it does just fine. But for those times that you need a wire cutter or pliers, man, I tell you, you really miss these kind of more full-size multi-tools. And so for those kind of scenarios, it's nice to have it on you. But for those other occasions that you don't have to carry the multi-tool on your person, maybe you have a backpack, or maybe you can just store your multi-tool in your vehicle or in your home, a Super Tool 300, a Surge, or even the Leatherman Wave Plus are really excellent options. If you can afford it, then there you go. As always, thanks for your ongoing support. I'll catch you later.